So, moving forward into this chapter onto the issue of what type of system or strategy might we want which helps us get into this form of trading. And in particular we come to the issue of whether it's discretionary or mechanical. And so let me explain what I mean by systems, trading systems which are discretionary or mechanical. A lot of it comes down to personality. In one sense, it was put to me by a leading trader in this way. The key thing is that you have to trade within your personality. If you are a certain type of person, you have to identify what you are. Come to terms with yourself as a personality, genuinely and without lying, and not something you'd like to be, and trade with what you are. So we've got to make sure what type of personality we have, whether it's impatient, patient, disciplined, focused, or whether it needs to be a bit more carefree, from a trading perspective, not from a holistic lifestyle perspective, from a trading perspective. Once we identify that, we can determine what type of trading systems we need to focus on. And there are two types. Discretionary systems, which is what I tend to use, and mechanical, which is what other people use. Now let me explain what discretionary is. This is where you might have certain rules about what kinds of signals you need before getting into a stock. And later on in this CD series, we'll look at specific systems. And it might be, for instance, if a technical indicator does this, and another one does this, and a third one does this, then we will look at that and make a decision. But the individual trader can overrule the system. For instance, incorporated in the system might be an analysis of the news, form some kind of judgment of the broader market, and then make a decision whether to buy or sell. Whereas with the mechanical system, it might be a similar thing, but there is no human intervention. That is it. You must follow the rules. So what kind of person, what kind of personalities are suited to each of these two types of systems? Well, the advantage with the discretionary system is there's no amount of programming knowledge that's needed. In other words, you don't need to be able to program computer software, trading systems in order to do that. And you can incorporate human experience into a discretionary system, and you can't incorporate that into a mechanical. So the principle you're making here is no amount of programming, which is what you would use for a mechanical system, can incorporate human experience. So a discretionary system should be better because the human brain is a better computer. You can never be as thoroughly back-tested because the trader himself cannot put himself back in time to decide how he would have felt about a particular trade and whether he would have placed it. That's one of the downsides of a discretionary system. That you can't go back in history and test how you would have performed, because you can't really put yourself back in the position of what the news would have looked like, how you would have felt at that particular time. The other advantage I've already mentioned, but with discretionary systems as an advantage as opposed to a con, as opposed to a downside, is you do not need to know how to program trading software. Well, what about mechanical systems? There's no emotions involved in decision making, so you should lead a less stressful life with mechanical systems which tell you buy when this happens, sell when this happens. Incidentally, I'll give you discretionary and mechanical systems in the CD-ROM set. Since it can be mathematically backtested, you can have a fairly good idea, albeit not conclusive, about future performance. There's no constant decision making. You don't need to be home and say, oh, do I need to, should I not? And as I've said, relatively stress-free lifestyle. That's essentially it in terms of which type of system you want from a personality test. So you've got to ask yourself, are you the type who would prefer, as I am for instance, having some element of human judgment put in so I can make a decision and not have to program lots of different trading systems and computers and the like, or would you just prefer to have a simple mechanical system and just follow it, and that is that, end of story? So that's a decision only the individual can make. As I said, I'll give you two different types within the CD-ROM series anyway, so you can make a decision. But this is so you're aware that swing traders fall into two categories, discretionary and mechanical.